my life, removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people.
Hello and welcome to our holiday program where we are going to have a wonderful time. The Bible says a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And you know what? Today we are going to have some wonderful food recipes for you to share, so you press that record button. In the meantime, I want to introduce our guests for today. Heidi, Tompkins, and Ivan Raj from New York, Babylon.
Yes.
When people hear Babylon, they say, come out of Babylon, right?
Yes.
My people. And we've known Heidi and Ivan for a number of years.
Yes.
Right?
5-6 years now.
Yes, quite a few years. And they are such wonderful, cheerful people. They cook amazing foods. They have, the way I met them was through their carob. What is this called?
Carubies, carob truffles.
Tell the people about that. Tell people who you are and more about yourself, okay? Go ahead.
Sure. So we started Heidi's Health Kitchen in June of 2014, and we actually started it based on our profession as Bible workers.
Yes,
and as Bible workers, we needed a way to support our Bible work. And so Ivan actually came to me and asked if I knew anyone who knew how to make carob, and I said, yes, me. And he tried it, and he thought it was amazing. At that time, we only had one flavor. Crunch was our original flavor. So I said, sure, I'll pray about it. And I did, and every day I prayed, and God gave me a new flavor every day. I would wake up with, like, the recipe downloaded in my brain. And it was just one shot, every single flavor. So we have 8 flavors, and this is your favorite, our cashew coconut.
Absolutely, my favorite.
And we also have with us our nut lovers, which is an assortment of almond, pistachio, and cashew coconut.
And what is this?
So I was just saying that basically these are the products which have supported our Bible work.
Oh,
yes.
Amen.
Our ministry is supported by the sale of our goods.
See, I love it. You have a ministry helping souls to know Jesus. And we'll talk about that as we make the food.
Later on, a couple years later, God gave us the recipe for a spread, a decadent carob spread. It's called Carabella. So this is like a vegan Nutella type product. And many, many people say it's better.
It's also gluten-free.
Yes, all of our products are whole food, plant-based, and gluten-free.
All right, that's exciting. Okay, now we have to, this is so nice. I am so excited about today's program. It's holiday foods, recipes, and we're gonna go right in to our first
we've got a
recipe.
lot for today's show.
What are we gonna make on this first one?
So today we are going to make our roasted pecans. And they are absolutely delicious. Any time of the year you can, especially at the holidays, they're really great snack to have on your table or, you know, as like a pre-snack before your holiday meal. So we can get right into it.
Pretty healthy. All right, let's look at the recipe.
So for our roasted pecans, you'll need 3½ cups of raw pecans. You'll also need ½ cup of maple syrup, the pure maple syrup, not the imitation, 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavoring, and for an added sweetener, you can add 1 to 2 drops of a vanilla cream stevia.
Okay, well, let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, you want to add your liquids. Ivan, you want to turn on the stove for us?
Sure.
So we want to add in our liquids.
Is that the syrup?
This is the maple syrup.
Okay.
Yep. And then we added our stevia right into our vanilla flavoring. Now we use vanilla flavorings instead of extracts.
Oh.
We don't use extracts because they contain oil. We use flavorings which are, sorry, they contain alcohol, not oil. So we use flavorings rather than extracts.
Okay.
And then our pecans. This recipe is so simple. You actually could do this with any nut. You could roast your own cashews.
Almonds.
And basically, almonds, yep. Basically, we're just going to stir this until all of the nuts are covered in the mixture. This is gonna cook for 12 minutes, stirring constantly, and then you'd lay it out on a parchment-lined sheet and let them dry. And they're absolutely amazing.
How long do you let them dry for?
A few hours is fine. You could do overnight. If you're, you know, in your holiday prep, if you wanted to make these are something you could easily make a day or 2 days before your holiday meal or when you're gonna have company.
Wow.
This is something that you could present in little gift bags to your guests for dinner,
nice. Beautiful.
Or just, you know, put them, you know, in a bowl so that people can help themselves and have a little pre-dinner snack.
That's right. Beautiful.
Would you like to try one, Angela?
Oh, okay. Let's see. This is already done, so. No sugar.
No sugar.
No sugar. No refined sugars.
Refined.
Maple syrup.
Yes.
This is absolutely delicious. Oh my. And it has such a flavor.
Yes, it does. It really has a nice flavor.
And the heat should be in medium.
Yes, you want to cook it on medium
For 12
to
minutes.
medium high, no higher than that. We don't want to burn
Right,
the
right.
syrup or the nuts.
Okay. Wow, and it smells good. So we're looking forward to tasting this later on. I know the crew loves the food.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So in the meantime, we have to go on to our next recipe.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it.
So our next recipe is our Cranberry Sauce Extravaganza. And so we're going to give you a couple of options with this.
Go ahead.
The first option is to make it raw. Many of our customers like to have sugar-free or unsweetened or using raw cranberries from scratch.
Okay.
So this is a raw from scratch type of recipe. For that, you would need 2 12-ounce bags of cranberries, fresh cranberries, 3/4 of a cup of pineapple juice, a 1/2 cup of applesauce unsweetened, 1/2 of a cup of water, 1 orange that's going to be zested and juiced, 3 to 4 tablespoons of coconut nectar, which is the sweetener, or now if you wanted to do the easier canned version, you would need 1 can of cranberry jelly sauce, you would need 1 berry sauce, and for the either way, you'll need 1 can of mandarins drained, and 1 can of pineapple tidbits drained, and of course, a cup of our roasted pecans that we just made.
Okay, let's try this. Now this looks like a pretty easy recipe, Heidi.
It is. You know, we just think that, you know, when you're planning your holiday menu, you may have some very extensive dishes, like some of the ones that we're going to show today, and you don't want all of your dishes to be extensive, right? You'll be in the kitchen for days.
That's true.
So we've got a really easy and fun way that you can kind of just cut a little bit of your time short and still present an amazing, beautiful dish. Guests are blown away by this, and if they only knew how easy it is, we just are going to mix these canned items together. Now, we just want to say that when you're buying canned items, if possible, especially with the cranberry sauces, you want to look for the organic and in a can that's free of the BPA lining. But the reason you want to get organic is because the ones that are not organic contain high fructose corn syrup. And that's not good for any of our waistlines, especially at the holidays.
That's right. People always gain weight during the holidays.
So we need to keep it as healthy as possible. So you want to just get organic canned cranberry sauces.
Okay, Ivan, let's do this.
All right, so I'm going to add the cranberry sauce. If you look at the colors, it's so beautiful, right?
Yes, it
Just
is.
Natural.
You're right. Look at all these colors.
And let's see. Let me hold it.
Okay, so we're pouring it in.
Yes.
And
So these are cranberries, I mean, and then oranges.
Wow. And all these you could get in the can, huh?
Yes. Yep.
That's great.
You just want to make sure you get either organic or that BPA-free lining.
Yes.
Really, you know, our health matters.
Yes. And what is this BPA? What is that?
So that is called biphenyl something. It's a long word. And it actually is kind of like a plastic, a form of plastic that's in the lining of the cans, and it's been linked to autoimmune diseases, cancers, and other health conditions that God doesn't want any of us to have.
That's right. No, we doesn't.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just mixing all the fruits together, and
Get the colors.
yeah.
Yeah, you just want to get it mixed together to be combined. And then, of course, those roasted pecans that we made already will go on the top. They can also get mixed in throughout, and it just makes a beautiful presentation. Of course, the fruits, the pineapple and the orange, you want to drain those. And I highly recommend that you get them, like the pineapple, in pineapple juice rather than in a syrup. And often you can get the mandarins in a pear juice or something like that rather than a syrup. It's healthier.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Ivan.
Let's
What
have
are we
the
doing
pecans, the roasted pecans.
Yeah, that we did earlier.
And
You can either leave them
I
on
just
top
wanna have,
or mix them throughout.
Right.
just for decoration, I just like to place one on the top.
On the top, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Beautiful.
And that's your holiday cranberry sauce extravaganza.
Heidi, that was so easy.
so easy.
Wow.
Wait till you taste it.
Okay, now I
It's
have to
so
taste
much
it.
better than just plain cranberry sauce from a can, right?
Oh my, let's see. Okay, here we go.
Flavorful, right?
Reminds me of Thanksgiving.
Christmas. Yeah,
Christmas.
both of those holidays, you could serve this for sure.
Wow, that was delicious. Wow, we have so many recipes to cover. So that was good. That was really good. But we need to move right on to the next recipe. Let's talk about that. Share with us.
Next recipe is cherry butternut squash stuffing. We're going to use 1 cup of butternut squash chopped, 1/3 of a cup of onion finely chopped, 3 tablespoons of vegan butter, 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, 3 tablespoons of vegetable broth, and you can add a little extra if you see it fit, 3 tablespoons of pieces of pecans, and 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped rosemary, 1 tablespoon of tart cherries chopped, that is Montmorency tart cherries chopped, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt.
Okay, let's try this. Now, stuffing, a lot of people during this time of year have stuffing, turkey stuffing, but this one is totally healthy, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Remember, everything that we do at Heidi's Health Kitchen is whole food, plant-based. So we're using the butternut squash and the onion, and instead of just having a stuffing that's just like nuts and breadcrumbs and that type of thing, or bread, we really want to get as many vegetables into our diet as possible.
Love that, love that. So let's get this going.
Yes. Now, we mentioned in the recipe that you could use a vegan butter.
Oh, yes.
But we have many, many customers, and even at our pop-up restaurant, we offer oil-free as an option. And so actually, we cooked this oil-free, and we're going to do that for you today.
I'm excited
And so
about
instead of using oil, you would use water. In this case today, we're using a vegetable broth. We're going to cook the squash in the vegetable broth.
Give it a good flavor, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ivan, if you want to turn that on for us, we're going to get this going. Now, once you get your vegetable broth in and you get your butternut squash and your onions going, this just needs to cook until the butternut squash is like semi-soft, because you don't want it mush.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean? You don't want it mushy. You want it to have some texture, and so we're going to put in also our chopped rosemary, chopped fresh rosemary. and we need to let these flavors kind of like meld in together.
Yes.
And you know, we can see now that the butternut squash is light colored, but as it cooks, it'll get brighter. And that's how you'll know that it's cooking. But of course, butternut squash is one of those vegetables that is high in beta carotene, and so has a lot of health benefits. And you know, this is something that if you wanted to, you could do with acorn squash. If butternut squash isn't readily available for you, you can use other squashes. But at this time of the year, at the holidays, you can find a butternut squash usually just about anywhere.
That's right, that's right.
So we would cook this until it is semi-soft. Again, we don't want mush, but we need these chunks to cook a little bit. And as needed, you can add more of the vegetable broth.
Oh, you can, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're also going to add some salt. The salt will actually help it to cook a little quicker. So we're going to add that in.
Do you use the sea salt?
We do. We generally prefer pink salt, like a pink Himalayan salt, even over a sea salt. That is our preference. Yes. Now, as this starts to cook, as the butternut squash becomes a little bit more tender and it's starting to cook, then we would add our breadcrumbs. Now, everything at Heidi's South Kitchen is gluten-free, so we even use gluten-free breadcrumbs.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. So then as this is cooking, we're going to add in our breadcrumbs, our pecan pieces, and our chopped tart Montmorency cherries. Did you know that...
Wait a minute, what is that?
These are tart Montmorency cherries. So this is a tart dried variety of cherry. And did you know that tart Montmorency cherries have the highest amount of melatonin out of anything in the plant-based world? So if you have trouble sleeping, if you have aches and pains, it also reduces inflammation. And we actually sell tart cherries bagged because we buy them in huge bulk.
Oh, yes, yes.
So we just offer them at a really great price because we can. And we recommend that people who are having sleep issues, that you take 1/4 to 1/3 cup of cherries and put them in a glass and fill the glass with water and let them sit during the day. You can cover it and put it in the fridge, and at night, before you go to bed, you drink the tart cherry juice, and it will help you to fall asleep sooner and stay asleep longer.
I have never heard of that.
Yes, it's an amazing health benefit.
Oh.
God is so good to us.
Naturally.
Yes. Okay, so we are adding our breadcrumbs, which will kind of, hold this together a little bit. We're adding our pecans and our tart cherries.
It's very good. Smells
great.
Oh my.
And so again, if it gets too dry, you just put maybe, a couple tablespoons, a tablespoon at a time of the broth if it's too dry. And then if it's too liquidy, just add in another half tablespoon or so of breadcrumbs to get it the consistency you want. Absolutely.
You can double this recipe.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, double, triple.
Okay, great. You can turn that off, Ivan. And then we are just going to pour this into a bowl.
Okay. Sure smells good.
And so again, if you like your squash or your stuffing more moist, you would just add a little bit more of the broth.
Right.
And then we usually just put some fresh rosemary right on top as well.
Beautiful. Okay.
But help yourself, Angela, if you'd like to give it a try. It's hot. You can see the steam coming off of it, so just be careful.
I'll just have a little bit of it and see how it tastes. Here we go. Cooked pretty fast.
Yeah, it does cook pretty fast.
And with the nuts, it's great.
Yeah. The
That's
rosemary
pretty
adds a nice
easy.
flavor too. It is pretty easy.
Smells great.
We want to
as well.
give you some easy recipes and some that are a little bit more complex that you can really, really wow your guests with.
And you will with this. And the thing is, you could make this any time of the year.
Of course.
As long as
So
the squash
healthy,
is
as long as
available.
you can find the squash. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to our next recipe.
Okay, so our next recipe, we are going to make a gluten-free mock turkey roll. For that, we're going to need 3/4 of a cup of garbanzo flour, which is also commonly known as chickpea flour, a 1/4 cup of almond flour, 1 tablespoon of a gluten-free baking flour, 1 tablespoon of what's called instant clear gel, 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour. We're going to use 1 cup of nettle tea, 1/2 cup of cashews, a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon of the nettle leaves that have been soaked, a 1/2 tablespoon of chicken-like seasoning, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of sage, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a dash of cayenne.
Okay, let's try this recipe.
All right.
This time of year, many people have big old turkeys in their homes. And today we have a mock turkey. So Heidi, share with us more about this mock turkey.
So this is actually a gluten-free mock turkey roll, and it's stuffed actually with the cherry butternut stuffing that we just made.
Very good.
So we're going to walk you through how to do it. It's really easy. You've got a set of dry ingredients.
Okay.
The wet ingredients are going to go in the blender. So Ivan's going to mix up the dry ingredients, and I'm going to walk you through putting the wet ingredients in the blender, and we're going to combine it, and that will be like the actual outer roll.
Yeah,
The stuffing is the filling.
Very good. What kind of flour is that?
So that's chickpea flour. That you cannot substitute. The chickpea flour has a texture that's going to hold this together. So you must use chickpea flour.
And this is almond meal.
Yes, almond meal or almond flour.
I have that. I never heard of chickpea flour. That's new for me.
Okay.
And then tapioca.
Tapioca. Very good. And so you're doing the wet, Heidi?
Yes. Now in the wet ingredients, we are using nettle tea. Have you ever had or heard of stinging nettles?
Yes.
Stinging nettles, yes. So what we did is
tea.
we made it into a tea. We soaked, well actually, so we boil the water, and by the way, you can find the recipe for making the nettle tea on one of our previous programs on 3ABN. We made a curry nettle potato.
Oh,
and we
curry.
actually did make the nettle tea right in front of you, so you can go back in the archives and look that one up. But basically, for every quart of water that you boil, you'll use a tablespoon of the dried stinging nettle. Bring the water to a boil. Turn the heat off because we don't want to cook the nettle, but it has to be soaked to take away the sting.
Oh.
Yes.
Is there a sting?
Yes.
There is. Yes, whether you're using fresh nettles or dry. We want to completely remove any sting.
Good.
So that we can get the health benefits. And the health benefits are that stinging nettle is excellent for cleansing the liver.
Really?
Excellent for the liver.
Really? That's
Excellent.
News
High in magnesium, so it helps reduce aches and pains. So you might want to check out stinging nettle.
Hey.
All right.
Right, so
So the actual soaked nettles, we are actually going to add at the end because we don't want our turkey roll to be green. Does that make sense?
That does. So
Yeah.
the very last one.
So that is the last thing, and you'll add that to the bowl. So actually, Ivan, you could add that right now to your dry ingredients because you don't want to put that in the blender. Otherwise, you'll have a green mock turkey roll, and that's not the most appetizing for your guests.
No.
That's not going to impress anyone.
No, no one wants a green turkey roll.
Yeah.
No. And the green looks like seaweed.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to blend
Okay,
that
so
together.
I just need to blend this together just enough to break up the cashews. That's really the only thing hard in here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, very good. Here we go.
Okay. Let's do it one more time. Okay, I don't hear any more cashews. We should be good. All right.
Nice and smooth.
Yes, we want it to be smooth. So can I put this in the
Yes.
center, Ivan? So you want to get all of this mixture into the bowl. This is your wet ingredients, and we need as much of that as possible into the bowl.
Okay.
So we can put that aside.
Oh, you can smell that.
Doesn't it smell good?
Very nice. It's interesting. I'm curious to see how this is gonna come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, have you made this for your customers?
Oh, yes.
yeah.
We sell this during the holiday times. We cater as well. In addition to our pop-up restaurant locally, we offer catering. So this is on our holiday catering menu for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. We sell a lot of these.
Wow, I'm sure
We
the
make them in
people-
a single roll, which we're making now, and we make it in a double size roll, a larger roll. The single roll will serve about 8 people,
Oh,
8 slices.
really?
Yes.
And New Yorkers are, you know, they are sometimes finicky when it comes to eating, and
Yes.
sure they enjoy this
Yes.
turkey.
This is one of our most popular
Is
holiday
it?
items.
Okay.
We generally sell it in a bundle, and we sell it with our Cranberry Sauce Extravaganza, and we sell it with a side of Butternut Squash Stuffing.
Yum.
Yes, basically, we're giving you guys like our holiday spread here.
Oh, your secrets, you're giving them away.
Yeah, our most popular. We have some other ones, but these are really, you know, and they're things that people can't find anywhere else. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, I need that fork, Ivan.
Here we go.
Oh, great. So we just want to mix, you know, the wet and the dry ingredients, and a big fork works well because if
Okay,
there's any
good.
lumps in
Oh,
the
yeah,
flour,
yeah.
you can just work it all out right then and there until we
Oh.
get, you know, a solid mixture here.
Okay. Why don't you have a cookbook?
Oh, we haven't had time. Being Bible workers and doing so many things, we're so busy.
Yeah.
And you know what? During, you know, especially this time lately, because people are ordering a lot online, we've been so busy.
Yes, this time of
So-
year, this Christmas season, a lot of people are ordering
Yes, the
your
Christmas
Karubi.
season and Valentine's Day are our biggest
Oh,
times of the
Valentine's,
year.
that's right, for the
Yes,
Karubis.
because people are looking for chocolate.
Oh,
Yes.
they get the carob.
They get carob
Right,
instead.
Ivan?
Chocolate and chocolate substitute as well,
Yes.
alternate.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, more and more, now we see this a lot in New York City because it's a fast pace of life. Do you know that more and more people are coming down with health issues that are related to stress, lack of proper sleep, and they get to the point where they have heart arrhythmia or heart
my.
problems, which are not necessarily related to heart disease,
Right.
but because of their lifestyle. So this is lifestyle related. And because of that fast pace of life, their heart just can only take so much. It creates a heart arrhythmia. And often when those people go to the doctor tells them, you have to cut caffeine.
Ah,
No more chocolate,
That's
no more
right.
coffee, no more any of that. Well, we have 3 signature products that can handle all their
Oh,
needs. We have our
right.
Karubi's carob truffles, which do not have any caffeine. We have our Carabella carob spread. We also sell a roasted fig beverage that's called Figspresso.
oh,
Yes.
Is that like a coffee
Figspresso.
substitute?
It is.
Yes, made with
Oh
figs.
my, does that
organic
go
figs.
well?
It does.
Oh.
Yes, so we've got everything that someone needs. And because of the fast pace of life in New
Yes.
York and New York City, we're seeing
Yes.
that more and more. Their doctors are telling people you can't have caffeine. So
right.
they think, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
What they're going to do without their coffee? We have a
Exactly.
substitute for that, don't we?
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to spread this out.
Yes, let's see how you do that.
So I'm going to take away the fork because
Okay,
that'll get in the way.
all right.
And so we are going to spread this out onto, now you want to first have a first layer of foil and then
Okay.
on top of that parchment,
Parchment paper.
okay? Because we
Good.
don't want the foil up against the food.
Yes,
Do you know what I
not
mean?
good.
But it needs the foil, you know, to bake
Yes.
and at the high temperature and everything.
Right.
So, okay, so I'll give you this. Now, the key to this, to make a roll, is you want to hold your hand
Okay.
and pull away from your hand, just,
Oh.
you know, if you want to do
Like a
this like
paste.
quicker. Yeah, and you want to make this a rectangular shaped.
Oh,
So each direction, You know, we just have to go in a rectangular,
Right.
we need that in there, shape. And, you know, so you can turn it, right? So you can get it in a shape that you can roll. Now, one of these spatulas, once you've got your shape, works out really well because you can drag it across so that it's even, so that you don't have parts that are like too thick and parts that are too thin. So again, we can turn it and get more going this way. So you really, a rubber spatula really helps to spread this out. And I'm trying to do this fast for the sake of time because I want you guys to see how we roll it up. Because once you learn to do this, you'll be able to do it easily on your own.
Wow.
Now, for several years in New York City, we gave hands-on cooking classes. We had a program called Cook With Us, where we rented a gourmet commercial kitchen on West 51st Street, and we could have up to 15 students in that kitchen.
That's near Times Square.
We would cook an entire 5-course meal together with our students, and this is one of the recipes they learned. Because once you do it once, you'll be able to do it easier and easier the next time.
Oh my, did you have a lot of students?
We did. We usually, you know, filled up our classes pretty much. We had no less than 10.
From the community?
Yes. Yep.
What an
Now that
outreach.
was a paid class.
Yes.
You know, because they had to pay for the ingredients and so forth.
Yes.
But in addition to
they
that,
paid.
Yeah, they paid.
Praise the Lord.
Yep.
Good. How did you advertise that?
Facebook.
Really?
Facebook, yeah, social media advertisement.
Very good.
Yeah.
People came out.
Yeah.
So you just spread it right across.
You
as
just spread it,
go?
and you want it to be like, you know, as rectangular, you know,
I
as you
see.
can.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to roll up, and nobody's ever going to know. But you know, you just want it to be as rectangular and as even. If the edges are a little bit thin, you know, just drag a little bit more over, and okay. So now, on top of this goes our butternut squash stuffing that we just made, because that is the filling of this roll.
Here we go.
So you just want to spread that. I usually put it like a little bit in the middle and then just spread it out. But you don't want it too close to the edges because we need room to roll this up.
Oh, yeah.
But you want to spread it long.
Right.
And as much in the middle as possible. All right, so we'll put a little bit more here on this end, and you can pile it high because we're gonna pull up the paper and roll these edges together.
Okay.
So you might, the first time, need a little help doing this. It might not be that easy, but you'd wanna start with this side of the paper. You can fold it over if you want. Now we have to bring this side up to meet this side. And we're gonna make a seam.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna pull this side up, and you just wanna pull them together. And you gotta cover your filling.
Yes.
Right? So you wanna pull them together and hold the parchment together, and then with your finger, just run it all along, because we gotta make a seam. You can pull it tighter, and run your finger along. So pull it as tight as you can without ripping the paper, because we gotta have a seam there. And then whatever is excess here, you could just, you know, fold it over. Now on the end, you might see that it's gotten a little bit longer. Yeah. And you just wanna pull it together, because can I move this, Ivan? Because we gotta close up the ends, right? So you kind of just form the dough with your fingers.
Tying a knot
and then you're gonna twist it to tie it off. Right? And then on the same side, it's kind of gotten a little long.
Yeah.
We're going to push it together, and this helps the seam form even more. And you're going to tie it up. And now, I like to put the parchment folded on the bottom. You can see we've got a pretty tight roll here, right?
Yes.
Now we're going to roll it in the foil. And you want to roll this as firmly as you can.
Very nice.
And then again, tie it off on the ends. And this is gonna go in the oven. And it's gonna bake. Now it needs an hour and a half to bake.
Hour and a half to bake.
It's gonna be beautiful when you take it out.
Oh my, wow. We will show the finished product at the end of the program.
Yes.
So, wow, this is gonna be great.
This is it.
And that's it, that's simple. And you just put it in the oven for how long?
An hour and a half.
An hour and a half, you said, okay.
Yep.
All right, well, let's go to the next recipe.
For our mock turkey gravy, we'll need 2 cups of vegetable broth, 1 cup of a plant-based milk, 3/4 of a cup of shallots, finely chopped, 1/4 of a cup of flour, gluten-free if you choose, 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of sage. We also need 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, a 1/2 teaspoon of marjoram, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
All right, gravy is very important for
Yes,
a roll
gotta
like
have
this.
gravy.
Yes, so let's do this, Heidi.
Yes, so Ivan's gonna get started sauteing our shallots. Now again, you could saute these in water. We don't use oil as much as possible.
Right.
But for more flavor, we're gonna saute them in the vegetable broth.
I like
so
that.
while Ivan is doing that, I'm gonna get started with the flour mixture.
Okay.
Now we're gonna put our flour mixture into a bowl.
Yeah.
And we're gonna add a little bit of our plant-based milk. Now, you could use an almond milk or an oat milk,
good.
cashew milk, whatever is your choice.
Okay, which one is this that you're
This
using?
one is oat milk.
I haven't heard of the oat milk.
Oh, it's nice. I really like it.
Okay.
So we don't wanna add it all. We're gonna add a little bit because we first want to whisk it together and make sure that there's no lumps. Once we've got all the lumps out, then we can add the rest of it and then we can add the seasonings. But we kind of wanna make like a thick paste.
Yeah, okay.
Because then we'll be able to see if there's lumps.
Yeah.
And we can just work it all out.
I like
So
that.
then slowly, we're just gonna add a little bit more milk.
Yes.
And again, we just want to make sure that we're working out any lumps that we see. And, you know, sometimes the lumps could be hidden in your
Right.
whisk there, so you
Yes.
just got to work it all around. And once we don't see any lumps, we're going to put in the rest of our milk.
Okay, very good.
Once we've got our milk in, we're just gonna whisk that together and incorporate that. And as you're doing that, you could start adding your other ingredients,
Very
like
good.
your salt and your
Yes.
seasonings. And this has a lot of seasonings because mock turkey gravy has to have a lot of flavor.
Yes. And yeah, you want it to taste good.
Yes, we don't want it to be bland
No,
or, you know, or anything like that. So we just want to add everything in. Just keep whisking it to get all those lumps out.
Right. It's coming
We're
out.
going to add in the rest of these. And we're going to add in our coconut aminos. Actually, those can go right into the pan.
Oh, good.
And now that we've got this all whisked together, Ivan, we need to add the rest of the vegetable broth to the pan, and then we will add our flour mixture.
Oh, very good. And you let it, oh, you're gonna mix that.
Now, this has to cook to thicken. And although it will thicken a little bit in the fridge, when it's cooling, for the most part, we need to thicken it in the pan. So we are gonna have to cook this, and you'll wanna cook this at home for probably at least 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, good.
So when it's all in the pan here, you want to mix it all in. And I'm just gonna scrape this out. We wanna get all those herbs that are stuck on the side of the bowl.
Very good.
Okay, now if you have a plastic whisk or a Teflon whisk that's not not Teflon.
Yeah.
What is it called? You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean,
The
yeah.
silicone.
Silicone one, that's right.
If you have a silicone whisk, you can continue to whisk right here in the
That's
pan.
right, that's right.
Otherwise, you're just going to stir, and you're just going to want to let that thicken. All right, and once that's
very
thickened,
nice.
you're going to see that the finished
Oh.
product is just
This is
really,
beautiful.
really thick and
Yeah.
beautiful. And I mean, you can
Look at
almost
that.
like tilt it and it's not pouring out,
Yes,
right? Because it's
thick.
really, really nice and thick. And this is gonna taste amazing on your mock turkey roll.
Oh,
You can also put it on mashed potatoes, anything
Yeah.
that you would use with a gravy.
Great. Oh, wow. Well, we have to move on to the next recipe. What is that?
The next recipe is the showstopper here
Uh-oh,
for the
okay.
entree.
Okay, here we go.
It's our Zucchini Cashewcotta Rollups. For this, you're gonna need 5 pounds of zucchini, the fatter the better,
Wow.
1 cup of tomato sauce, and you're gonna need salt. You're gonna need ricotta cream. Now to make the ricotta cream, we're gonna use 2 cups of cashews, a 1/2 cup of water, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice, 3 garlic cloves, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. Next, we're gonna make our filling, which uses 1½ cups of the ricotta cream that we would have just made, a 1/2 cup of spinach, frozen, thawed, drained, and squeezed, a 1/2 cup of artichokes chopped, 2 tablespoons of parsley, plus a little bit more for garnish, 2 garlic cloves minced, and 1 egg replacer.
Okay, let's try this. Okay, I'm excited about this wonderful recipe. Ivan, what are
Yes.
you going to be doing in?
So I'm going to be making the filling for the recipe Cashewcotta Rollup.
Yes.
And so we have spinach here.
Yes.
And I'm going to add the spinach first into the bowl.
Yes.
And then some artichoke, chopped artichokes.
Yeah.
And this is the egg replacement liquid. And
Yeah, put
let's
that there.
see. And I have some cilantro
Oh, I love
and
cilantro.
mint.
And some mint. It's going to give it an interesting
We have some
flavor.
mint here.
Okay.
And then garlic.
And garlic. Wow. And Heidi, what are you doing over there?
So I'm making the ricotta cream. And so we want this to be combined and broken up, but a little bit chunky, like a ricotta.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
it
as
is.
it's not as creamy as our cashew mayo.
Right. Okay.
So these are 2 recipes in one, actually.
Oh, yes, yes. That's right.
So this is actually a big hit among our customers, this mixture right here. And it's also very delicious, also gluten-free, plant-based.
Oh, has everything and full of vitamins.
Vitamins, yes.
Okay, Heidi.
Okay.
That's
All right,
Ivan, this goes into your mixture.
sure. It's ready.
oh my.
Yep.
You want me to scrape it?
Nope. We only need about 1.5 cups.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And put a little extra. That's good. So you can mix that together.
Sure.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to set up for how we are actually going to prep the zucchini. So if you have a mandolin at home, that's the best way to do this.
What is that? It's not an instrument, is it, that you play?
It's a food instrument.
Yeah.
And so these are zucchini cashewcotta rollups. So we're going to use the zucchini. So we chopped off the edge. And you want to find, generally I do this over a cookie sheet or a cutting board. So let me bring this over.
All right.
And so you want to raise it up. It generally has a stand. And you want to find like the flattest edge of the zucchini, and we're going to make slices. Now this blade is very sharp, so you want to
Okay.
keep your hand flat.
Yes.
And thank you, Ivan. The first cut is always the hardest.
Right.
I'm going to show you just a couple more. That's all we really have time for. And now the most important step of this dish is that once you have your zucchini slices, right? They're about 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah.
You're going to lay those out on a parchment-lined sheet.
Okay.
And you're going to need to sweat the zucchini. What that means is the recipe called for salt. And it didn't have a measurement because it depends how
Right.
wide and thick your zucchinis are. But you're going to sprinkle salt on each side of the zucchini, on the top side first, and let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. And you're going to see this thing start sweating like crazy. The salt is going to pull the water
Really?
out of the zucchini. If you do not do this, your finished product is going to be mush.
Oh my.
Mush.
We
You
don't want
must do
mush.
this. So sprinkle the salt, leave it for 15 to 20 minutes, and then turn it over and salt the other side 15 to 20 minutes, and then you're gonna want a little bowl because your whole thing is gonna be wet. And like a squeegee, two
Yes.
fingers, you're gonna pull off the water and the salt, and then these have to be roasted for 8 minutes on each side.
Okay.
And then we get our finished product, which we are going to roll for you. So Ivan, if
Okay.
you can get the sauce bed ready. So the best way and the easiest and quickest is to use a piping bag, cut off the end, and stick it in a glass. Fold the edges over, and put your spinach artichoke filling in here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now this is chunky, so you gotta make sure that you cut the end of the bag wide enough for chunks of artichoke to pass through, etc.
Yes. Great. Solid, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice and thick.
And so by the way, this mixture is also our spinach artichoke dip.
I love it.
Which you can just serve as a whole separate dish
Yeah.
in itself. But so what we're gonna do real quick
Okay.
is, I'm gonna show you how to set these up. So we need and if you get a chunk of artichoke, just push it through with your finger. We need nice,
Look how nice that's.
yeah,
comes
we
out.
need nice, a lot of filling, right? We don't want to
Yeah.
be skimpy here on the
Right.
filling, right? So we want to go, fast, fast, fast.
Yes.
Just put it right on. And if you get a chunk, just push it through.
Okay. There we go.
And we're gonna roll these onto the bed of sauce. And then of course you can top and garnish with additional parsley, etc. So we're literally gonna roll these up. These are Zucchini Cashewcotta Rollups.
Very
And they literally roll up just like that. Stick them in the sauce.
Hey.
And you don't want them too tightly
Right.
together, but depending on the size of your pan, you'll adjust, and you might end up doing a few trays of this. And so then you'll bake this in the oven at 425 for about 20 minutes, and then you've got your dish. And of course, we've got the finished product over there.
Here we go. You can show them. This is the finished,
Finished
product.
product.
Doesn't
Yeah,
that
so
look
that's
good?
baked.
It's actually baked.
So look at how festive this looks, right? Isn't this a beautiful
so seasonal.
festive dish for the
Yes.
holidays?
Oh, and when you have a pretty dish, it really makes it look
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
Yes.
So this is like, the showstopper for your holiday dinner. People are enthralled with this dish. People love it. We serve it as an entree at our pop-up restaurant.
Wow, well, thank you. We have to move on to our next recipe. What is that next recipe, Heidi?
It is our holiday bark. And for that, we need a carob base of a 1/4 cup carob powder, raw. We use a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and a 1/2 teaspoon of peppermint flavor, which is optional, but really goes well around the holidays. Then we use a white drizzle, which is made from a 1/2 cup macadamia nuts, raw and soaked, 1 tablespoon cream of coconut, 1 tablespoon coconut oil, and a 1/4 teaspoon, you can use either cherry or mint flavor. And then our toppings are a 1/2 cup of tart Montmorency cherries, dried, a 1/2 cup of pistachios shelled, and you can even use crushed candy canes.
Okay, let's do this.
All right.
Okay, Heidi, we know everyone likes sweet things,
Yes.
right, Ivan?
Absolutely.
During this time of year.
Yes.
So go ahead and share this wonderful recipe.
So this is our holiday bark, and if you've ever had holiday bark before, you'll know that this is a very festive item. And so you can plate this for your guest as a dessert. You can wrap it up in little cellophane bags and give it as a gift, to friends.
Yes.
People have seen it that way often. And so it's a really, really fun type of recipe. Also, if you have kids, they'll love to help with this one.
Oh, that's true. They like to help in the kitchen, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. So we're getting all of our ingredients in, and we're going to blend.
like chocolate.
Yeah. So we just need to get that carob powder and the coconut oil and everything all incorporated together. Thank you, Ivan. Can you move that plate forward? All right, so this is our carob base, and we are going to pour this on. It's a little bit thick, but that's because of the coconut oil, and as it cools off, it thickens up.
Yes.
So this is something that we're gonna put in the freezer also to give it that hard,
Right.
you know, hard chocolate type appeal.
Right. Yum. Very nice.
So if you're using a larger dish or a larger pan, you can easily double and triple the recipe.
good.
You know what I mean?
I like that,
But
yeah.
we're just doing, you know, a little bit here. So we're going to spread this out.
Right.
And we want to get our toppings ready. Now we have for you already our chopped tart Montmorency cherries. And we have pistachios, roughly chopped, and we have ground up candy canes. So there's different toppings here.
Candy cane.
You know, we also have our macadamia drizzle, which is actually more like a cream.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's the coconut oil has solidified a little bit here. But you can.
I think I have the finished product, which I can show to our
Great.
viewers.
Yeah, why don't you
do.
do that? Why don't
But
you
you
bring
can drop this on and you can drizzle it throughout. It kind of looks like snow.
Yeah.
So it's really, really fun for if you're making this for the winter time. And so
Yeah.
you'll drizzle that through and then you'll just put on your toppings. Maybe we'll do one half with pistachio and cherry, and then we could do the other half with our ground up candy canes. And this will go into the freezer, it'll harden up, and then you'll be able to take the parchment off and cut it and break it into squares.
We are going to take a short break, so you stay tuned. We will be right back.
For more information about Heidi's Health Kitchen, please visit their website at heidishealthkitchen.com. That's heidishealthkitchen.com. Their email address is heidishealthkitchen@gmail.com. That's heidishealthkitchen@gmail.com. Their phone number is 631-663-3128. That's 631-663-3128. And their mailing address is P.O. Box 232, Babylon, New York, 11702. That's P.O. Box 232, Babylon, New York, 11702.
Now, Heidi, why don't you tell the folks out there what we just had today, what you made today?
Sure.
What did we
Sure.
start with?
So we started with our roasted pecans,
That was good.
and then we made our cranberry sauce extravaganza, which includes the pecans. We also made our cherry butternut squash.
Yes.
That was stuffed in our mock turkey roll.
Yum.
We also made a gravy for our mock turkey roll. And then we made a second entree, our Zucchini Cashewcotta Rollups. And of course, the filling for that is our spinach artichoke dip, which can be served as another side. And then we ended with our holiday bark for dessert.
Absolutely delicious. Oh, Heidi, Ivan, thank you for joining us
Oh,
today.
thank you for having us.
Boy, there's nothing like the holiday season,
Yes.
isn't it? Where
Yes.
people can come over and have lunch or a wonderful Christmas meal with you. And what we showed here is absolutely delicious. And you also have the Karubis, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, people can contact us to support our
Yes.
ministry or order online at heidishealthkitchen.com.
Okay, and they can get an array of products
Absolutely.
that you will ship worldwide.
And they're great gifts.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. As we know, it says, we've run out of time, and there's a saying that goes, let medicine be thy food and food be thy medicine. You have a blessed day this holiday season. Thank you.